Yo, what is up, my Rebels? Today, we're going to be predicting every single bracket for the 2022 NCAA Wrestling Championships. Let's get into the video. So first off, at 125 pounds, top dogs here, Suriano, Hildebrandt, Micheal, Ayala, Glory, Courtney, and Arujao. First, on the bottom half of the bracket, Glory and Arujao should have easy paths to meet each other up until the semis, where they'll wrestle each other. First time they wrestled, Glory actually won, I believe it was by 3 points, in a pretty high-scoring bout. But then recently, Arujao won, almost tagged Glory. I believe he won by like plus 13 or a crazy margin. So I expect him to produce a similar result here at the NCAAs. Then on the top half of the bracket, Suriano is going to have a tough match with Hildebrandt. The last time they wrestled, it was a 3-2 win for him in the Penn State-Michigan duel. But expect Suriano to win here pretty decisively and get a nice win over Micheal as well. But then on the other half of that top side bracket, Ayala versus Courtney in the quarterfinals. I think Ayala has a shot at beating and upsetting the runner-up from last year. He had some good top 10 wins earlier on in the season and is my sleeper of this bracket. So expect to see him and Suriano in the semis, where Suriano should win pretty decisively. Then in the finals, Suriano versus Vito. This will be a rematch of one of the matches at the 2019 US Open, where Suriano lost 2-2 on criteria. So both of these guys pretty even, only traded the takedown in that match, which was freestyle of course, but in folk style, I think Suriano is just a bit better, and he has come up pretty clutch, especially the last time he wrestled at this tournament when he beat Fix in overtime. So I think he'll be able to do it again and beat Arujao in a closely contested finals match. I think Arujao will get second, Suriano of course winning, and then Glory will battle back for third. Then at 133 pounds, RBY should have a pretty easy path to make the semis. No one really going to be contesting him here. But then Austin Desanto will have a tough match in Mickey Filippi in the round of 16. Filippi does have a career win over Dayton Fix. Hasn't been able to do it again since that match. I believe it was 2 or 3 years ago, but he is a tough opponent. And then after that, Desanto, of course, who was given the 5 seed, will probably face the 4 seed Corbin Myers in the quarterfinals. Myers, a guy who's only lost to one guy this season, which was Michael McGee of Arizona State. So it's going to be a very close match between these guys, but I think Desanto will be able to pull through and meet RBY in the semis. Then on the bottom half, Ragusin and McGee are going to be set to meet in the quarterfinals. I think Ragusin gets the upset here. McGee has 2 losses, one to RBY and one to I don't even know who, but I think he was a pretty decent guy, but of course not to the level of guys like Corbin Myers or RBY or Dayton Fix. So not really sure about that early loss that McGee took earlier on in the season. I think Ragusin has a shot at beating him. He's my sleeper for this weight. He's wrestled pretty good, especially at Big Ten, so I think he can get the upset here, and then we'll probably meet Dayton Fix in the semis, as Fix will most likely take care of business against a tough opponent in Lucas Bird, who gave Desanto a run for his money at the Big Ten semis. But Fix should handle it and then meet Ragusin in the semis, where he should win, and then Desanto and RBY. RBY's beaten him, I believe, like 5 times in the past year, so I think RBY will win here again. Then in the finals, Fix versus RBY, a rematch of last year, where RBY won in overtime in a match that really should not have been that close. Got kind of robbed, in my opinion, by the stalling calls, and barring that from happening again, I think he wins here again. A decisive win, at least by 2 or 3 points. Then at 141 pounds, I really see only 4 top guys, and it's the top 4 seeds. There's Nick Lee, there is Jayden Eierman, Sebastian Rivera, and then there's Real Woods from Stanford. Woods, he's been a pretty good wrestler, was a dark horse at the tournament last year, and this year he's really emerged as one of the top contenders. Don't really think he'll beat Nick Lee though in the semis. I mean, Lee's been on a different level recently, especially at Big Ten. He was just teching people left and right. Bonus his way through the whole entire tournament, especially because Jayden Eierman forfeited in the finals. But expect Nick Lee to be able to beat Real Woods, make the finals. And then Rivera and Eierman. This is going to be a very close match. The last time these guys wrestled, I'm actually not sure when the last time these guys wrestled, but I remember last year Rivera gave a close, tough match to Nick Lee in the NCAA semis, and it was a very tough one. Sadly, Rivera did lose that, and Nick Lee went on to become the champion, but I think Rivera's going to be able to beat Eierman this time. It's been alluded by the Iowa coaches that Eierman's suffering a bit of an injury, so I think that's going to slow him down a little bit. and then it will be a Nick Lee versus Rivera finals. Now, Rivera, he's never won an NCAA championship before. I think it's going to stay that way. Nick Lee's been looking very dominant this season. Rivera was also injured earlier on prior to Big Ten, so both Rivera and Eierman facing injuries. Whichever one makes the finals, I think Nick Lee's going to win it either way. Then at 149 pounds, Yianni Diakomihalis, he should have a pretty easy path to making the semis. Will only have to beat Max Murin in the quarters, which is a pretty winnable match for him. And then Sasso will also have a pretty easy path. Then there is Tariq Wilson, the 2 seed, who has just been a beast, finished the ACC undefeated. He'll have a tough one in the quarters against Joshua Hale, who only has 1 loss on the season, but should be winnable for Tariq Wilson. And then the number 3 seed will have to face Yaya Thomas in the round of 16. Thomas, who actually finished 3rd at the NCAAs last year, was pretty clutch, wrestled very good to come back. He'll be a tough opponent for Austin Gomez to wrestle in the round of 16, but I think Gomez is going to be able to get past him and then wrestle Tariq Wilson, where I think Gomez is going to win. He's got that big move potential. Wilson, of course, has looked pretty unstoppable throughout the season, but I think Gomez is going to get it done here. And then Yianni should be able to beat Sasso as he has done before in the past. Then between Yianni and Gomez, Yianni, a great scrambler, a 2-time NCAA champion, and I think he's going to get his 3rd one against Austin Gomez. Probably will be able to out-scramble Gomez in a lot of those takedown positions and win the title. Then at 157 pounds, the 1 seed David Carr is going to have a tough path to get to the finals. He's going to have to beat Brady Brady, who got a very low seed and a very gritty wrestler. Then he's going to have to wrestle Will Luan, who got 2nd at Big Tens. And then he's got Ed Scott in the semis, most likely, who was a beast and an ACC champion. But I think David Carr, who's fresh off his 3rd Big 12 title and has the longest winning streak right now, I believe, should be able to beat all of these guys and make the finals. Then it's going to be Ja'Cory Teamer going up against Austin O'Connor in the quarters. Teamer will probably beat last year's champion at 149, as O'Connor really hasn't grown into the weight that much and doesn't look as strong as he was in this weight as he was last year at 149. Then Deakin should have a pretty easy path to making the semis, where between Teamer and Deakin, I think Deakin takes it here. He's been looking unstoppable, undefeated, and a Big Ten champion. And then between David Carr and Ryan Deakin, last time these guys met was, I believe, 2 or 3 years ago, where Deakin won 9-8 in a very close match. I think Carr flips the results here. He's been wrestling very good, won, of course, last year, and just been looking like a stud this year as well. Both these guys undefeated. Carr, longest streak right now, but I think Carr's going to take it here. He has some great takedowns, and if he can get to them and neutralize Deakin's offense, at 165 pounds, Wick, the 1 seed here, undefeated, should make the semis pretty easily. The quarters, though, between Griffith and Hamidi is going to be fireworks. I mean, Griffith does have 3 losses, all of them to Evan Wick, while Hamidi has a few losses of his own. But both these guys are pretty young. I mean, Hamidi's a true freshman, has the 4 seed here. I expect him to win this matchup. Even though Griffith was the NCAA champion last year, Hamidi's just been looking better and better as each week's been going on, closing the gap on Marinelli, even as shown in the Big Tens. But I think Hamidi's going to get the win here over Griffith and meet Wick in the semis, where Wick should probably be able to beat Hamidi and make the finals. Then between Marinelli and Amine in the quarters, expect Marinelli to win here, while Keegan O'Toole beats Harchla in the quarters as well. And between Marinelli and O'Toole, of course, who got 3rd last year at the NCAAs, I believe him to probably major Marinelli, or at least win by a considerable amount. And between O'Toole and Evan Wick in the finals, this one's going to be a close match. I mean, Wick never was an NCAA champion before, neither was O'Toole, and both these guys were All-Americans, wrestled very, very well, but I don't know who's going to win this matchup. It's going to be a toss-up, but if I have to go with my gut, I'm going to go with O'Toole. He's a young guy. He's wrestled some pretty good competition. I mean, so has Evan Wick, but I just think O'Toole is going to get the win here. Then at 174 pounds, Starocci, the 1 seed, should have a pretty easy path to make the semis, while Kemerer is going to run into Hidley in the quarterfinals, but I think Kemerer is going to come out here and get the win. He's been pretty well rested the past few weeks, so should be in good condition to win over Hidley. And on the bottom half, Massa probably have an easy path to making the semis, while Micheal Lewis will beat the dangerous Clay Lout in the quarterfinals. Lau does have some wins over pretty high-ranked opponents, and if he can get to his big moves, he can really change the match. But Lewis should be able to neutralize that and meet Massa in the semis, where I expect Lewis to win here as well. He was an NCAA champion 2 years ago and has some great technique and been looking pretty strong this season. Then Starocci and Kemerer. This will be the third or fourth time these guys have wrestled, but I think Starocci is going to be able to get the win here like he did the past few times. Then between Lewis and Starocci, both of these guys were pretty young. Both of them won as freshmen. It's going to be a close match. I mean, really, these guys never wrestled each other before. Starocci's just been looking very strong this season. I mean, even his match with Kemerer, he's got those very good ride outs. He's got great mat returns and just a beast on top. And on his feet, he has great shots as well. So I think he's be able to get to that against Lewis and win. Then at 184 pounds, between Myles, Amine, and Parker Keckeisen, these guys are probably going to make the semis pretty easily. And Amine, he's just been looking like a beast ever since that Big Ten Finals win he had over Aaron Brooks. I mean, I expect him to beat the young guy in Parker Keckeisen here and make the finals. Probably will beat him by 2 or 3 points. Then in the other side of the bracket, Hidley should be able to make the semis, while Aaron Brooks runs into Caleb Rivera in the quarters, but should be able to beat him as well. And then between Hidley and Brooks, this will be a rematch of last year's NCAA final. I think Brooks is going to be able to repeat the result that he got last year and beat Hidley and make the finals. And then between Amine and Brooks, the last time these guys wrestled, of course, Big Ten championships. We all know what happened. Brooks had the lead, then Amine got a late takedown, and then Brooks got an escape to force OT, and then he got taken down. So I believe it's going to be another very, very close matchup. But Penn State guys, I mean, they've been known to make adjustments when it comes to NCAAs. I think Kemerer will get him ready and to beat Myles and me. Then at 197, this one is kind of a toss-up now that AJ Ferrari's out of the mix. The top guys were, of course, Max Dean and Stephen Buchanan, but things kind of got thrown off when Cam Caffey ended up beating Max Dean earlier on in the season. Now, these guys are probably going to meet each other in the quarters, but I think Max Dean's going to be able to beat him this time and make the semis. Then Nino Bonacorsi, a guy who got second last year at this weight, is going to run into the Big Ten, I believe, third placer, Patrick Bruckey. It's going to be a pretty close matchup, but I think Bonacorsi is going to win here, meet Max Dean in the semis, and Max Dean should probably get the win here over the Pitt wrestler. Then on the other side of the bracket, Schultz should have an easy path to making the semis, while Stephen Buchanan should also be able to make the semis pretty easily as well. Between Schultz and Buchanan, Buchanan's been wrestling very good this season for Wyoming, only has 1 loss. While Schultz, of course, did lose to Max Dean earlier on in the season. So I think Buchanan's going to have a tough one with Schultz, but as long as he can stop his shot and change the angles that Schultz is able to get in on, should win this matchup. Then in the finals versus Buchanan against Max Dean, I think Max Dean's going to be able to get the win here. I mean, they've never wrestled before, as well as Dean is just a beast on top. His bow and arrow has pinned a lot of guys. He's gotten near fall on a lot of good guys and broken up in a lot of close matches. If you can get on top and break down Buchanan and get to his bow and arrow, I think the match is over. And he's great on his feet as well, so I expect him to win. And finally, at heavyweight, I think we all know who's going to win here. Gable should major or tech his way through the finals, and then at the finals, he's going to have a somewhat challenge with Colton Schultz, who he's never wrestled before. Schultz, of course, is a very young freshman right now, and has been wrestling great, undefeated for ASU, and has gone pretty much unknown due to the great amount of heavyweights in the Big Ten, but should beat Tony Cassiope in the semis and face off against Gable in the finals, where I think Gable will take a comfortable win, most likely by bonus points. And due to that, I think he'll also win the Hodge, as he's going to probably bonus point his way through the whole season. This will probably be Gable's last NCAA tournament as well, so we better enjoy it. We only got 5 matches left of this amazing wrestler, so it's going to be great to watch. But yeah, that's going to wrap up our video talking about my predictions for the 2022 NCAA Wrestling Championships. If you guys enjoyed, make sure to leave a like, comment down below if you agree or disagree with any of my picks, and subscribe for more wrestling content like this. Peace.